students, today we are going to study in brief about the development of Kushana coins, which reveals the influences of Iranian, Greek, Hellenistic, Scythians and Indian divinities. While studying the coins of Kushanas, some relevant questions which often come to our mind are: who were the Kushanas, which was their domain of rule, what are the sites of excavations of Kushana coins, what are the designs and metals are used in the production of Kushana numismatics, what are the legends and divinities depicted on the Kushana coins. Now, we are going to discuss the history of Kushana dynasty. The Kushana empire originally formed in the early 1st century AD under Kojula Cadphises in the territories of ancient Bactria around the Oxus river Amu Darya and later based near Kabul, Afghanistan. They were contemporaneous with the Satvahana, Andhra and Saka kingdoms during part of the 2nd century AD. The name Kushana derives from the Chinese term Gushang used in historical writings to describe one branch of the Yuezhi. The ruling line of the Kushana descended from the Yuezhi, a people that ruled over most of the northern Indian subcontinent, Afghanistan and parts of Central Asia during the first 3 centuries of the Common Era. The Yuezhi conquered Bactria, northwest Afghanistan and Tajikistan in the 2nd century BC and divided the country into 5 chiefdoms, one of which was that of the Kushanas Guishang. 100 years later, the Kushana chief Kojula Cadphises secured the political unification of the Yuezhi kingdom under himself in 1st century AD. The Kushana empire spread from the Kabul river valley to defeat other Central Asian tribes that had previously conquered parts of the northern central Iranian plateau once ruled by the Parthians. Now, we are going to discuss the Kushana numismatics. The systematic issue of gold coins in northern India commences with the advent of the Kushanas to power. Previously, the Persian emperor Darius had issued Daric gold and Sigloi silver coins in the 6th century BC, but their circulation was confined to the Indian satrapy of the emperor in the extreme northwest. Gold coins of the Greek standard till the time of Eurydites are known, though very scarce according to Whitehead. It is a remarkable fact that after Eurydites, a gold currency of any prince up to and including the last king Hermias is absolutely unknown. The Kushana rulers have therefore the credit of issuing systematic gold and copper coinage, though only a few silver pieces are also known. Trade relations between India and the outside world necessitated circulation of coins of a set standard. As the Roman auri was acceptable, it was natural for the Kushana monarchs to imitate this Roman coin in weight and standard. The introduction of their own coinage to meet the needs of their subjects and to facilitate international trade was a natural thing expected from rulers with an extensive domain. Now, we are going to discuss the excavations of Kushana coins. The first Kushana coins were found in the Punjab in 1830. A few years later, between 1834 and 1836, Mason collected a number of coins in the region of Bagram in Afghanistan. These were published by Wilson in a report for the 17th volume of Asiatic Researches. Serious study was lavished on these previously unknown kings at the end of the 19th century, so that by the start of the 20th century, a huge number of Kushana coins had been catalogued. Between 1912 and 1930, John Marshall excavated the site of Takshila in modern Pakistan. This and many more digs during the 50s and 60s gave more and more contextual information to the coinage. By the 1980s, the order of the coins had been established, rough dates decided and catalogues compiled. The coins remain, however, a tantalizing glimpse of the past, and vast hoards such as that from Takht-e-Sangeen continue to come to light. Now, we are going to discuss the types and metallurgy of coins under different Kushana rulers. First, coins under Kojula Cadphises. The coins of the first Kushana ruler, Kojula Cadphises, are only in copper and several types. Number 1, burst of Heracles and Hermes. Number 2, bull and Bactrian camel. Number 3, diademed head and enthroned king. Number 4, seated Buddha and Zeus. Number 5, head of Augustus with king seated. Number 6, Macedonian soldier. Of these 6 types, only 2, the diademed head and the enthroned king and seated Buddha and Zeus, deserve attention. The former because it was possibly imitated from that of Augustus or Claudius on Roman coins, and the later because Buddha figures on Kanishka coins as well. We have considered the historical value of the former type in connection with the history of Kojula Cadphises. The seated Buddha type is associated with the coinage of Kanishka, with the differences that Buddha figures on the reverse both in standing and seated postures. Coins under Vima Cadphises. Vima Cadphises introduced gold, silver and copper coinage, types with the king figuring prominently in all types, along with Shiva alone or with his bull. The coins show an improvement characterized by Indianization of motifs. The Bactrian camel is replaced by the Nandi. This ruler issued gold coins of 3 varieties. Number 1, head or figure of the king seated on throne. Number 2, half length figure of the king and Shiva. Number 3, head of the king in frame. Another type of gold coin not mentioned by Gardner, Smith and Whitehead was first noticed by Wilson. In this, king to the right is carried in a car drawn by 2 horses and driven by a diminutive character. He puts on a cap and holds a club. This unique coin was mentioned in the Journal of the Asiatic Society of Bengal. It was procured by Colonel Smith from Banaras. Vima Cadphises did not issue silver coins, and so far only 1 silver coin now in the British Museum is noticed. It has the standing figure of the king to the left with helmet and fillet, tunic, coat and trousers, altar and trident in front, club behind the right hand in the usual position, and the left possibly holding a vessel. The copper coins of Vima Cadphises have only one type, standing king with Shiva and bull on the reverse in 3 sizes all round. The king in this type stands before the altar in the usual dress, possibly making an offering with the right hand, describing the reverse of the copper coin of the large size. Wilson pointed out that on the reverse the figure of Shiva is turned to front. The head is portrayed and surrounded by a wheel, body clothed in the usual Hindu dress, and a garland of flowers or skull hangs on the left shoulder. He holds a trident in his left hand and is leaning on an Indian bull standing behind him. Coins under Kanishka. Kanishka I is no doubt the most famous Kushana king and even perhaps the greatest, although his son Huvishka's empire was probably bigger and coinage more copious. He owes much of his fame to his place in early Buddhist literature, where he is mentioned as a patron of Buddhism and the convener of the 4th Buddhist Council. He is supposed to have built in Peshawar a great stupa holding relics of the Buddha. More importantly, Kanishka is central to historical discussions of the time because he is known to have started an era. The most important inscription of Kanishka is the Raptak inscription. This established his genealogy with Kojula Cadphises, Vima Takhto or Takha and Vima Cadphises being named as his immediate ancestors. It is this part of the inscription that has received the most attention. But there are at least 3 other very important revelations in the inscription. First, it clearly establishes that Kanishka created a new era because it is dated in year 1. Second, it shows Kanishka to be a nationalist. He explicitly states that he is recording this inscription in the Aryan or Bactrian language. Until that time, Greek had been the lingua franca of the region, and indeed the first coins of Kanishka carry Greek legends, as did the coins of all his forebearers. But after the brief early issues, Kanishka's coins switched to carrying Bactrian legends. For example, the word king, rather than being recorded as the Greek Basileus, is now rendered Shao. Third, it suggests that at least at the time of his reign started, Kanishka was a follower of Iranian religion, since he gives prime place among the listed pantheon to the goddess Nana, but nevertheless honored deities from different traditions. These lessons from the Raptak inscription are reflected in Kanishka's wonderful coinage. As mentioned earlier, his early Greek issues feature Greek legends and Greek versions of the deities. They are quickly replaced by Bactrian issues with Bactrian legends and the Iranian versions of the same deities. In addition, deities from the different traditions are featured on the coinage. The prominence given to the portrait of Shiva with Nandi bull on the coins of Vima Cadphises is retained in those of Kanishka and his successors. The gold coins of Kanishka are only of one type, but in 2 sizes, stater or quarter stater. The king radiate stands to left, wearing peaked helmet, long heavy coat and trousers, sacrifices at a small altar, holding a long spear in left hand. The reverse is occupied with figures of different divinities. The Iranian legend in Greek Pau Nano Pau, Kanishki, Kushano alone appears on the aboves. Gold coins of this ruler with the Greek title Basileus Basilion are much rarer than the common type bearing the title of Shao. Whitehead refers to a few such coins in the British Museum, one each with the figures of Helios Hephaestus and 2 with the deity Selene on the reverse. The standing king type with the legend in Greek Basileus Basilion on the obverse is retained for his copper coins as well. Along with the Iranian title Pau, Shao, standing king type, the later in 3 sizes, double stater and quarter stater. Copper coins of this ruler in the seated posture on throne are also found. Coins under HUVISHKA. HUVISHKA issued numerous types of coins, some were new devices. His gold coins depict the half-length figure of the king and deity, and the king seated in cross-legged fashion. Both these types have the Iranian legend Pau Nano Pau in Greek on the obverse. The different types of copper coins of HUVISHKA. Number 1, king riding on elephant. Number 2, half-length figure of king and deity. Number 3, elephant rider. Number 4, king reclining on couch. Number 5, king seated to front cross-legged. Number 6, king seated with head to right. Number 7, king with both arms raised. Coins under Vasudeva. The coins of Vasudeva in gold and copper are of two types. One showing the king at altar on the obverse with OHPO Shiva and bull on the reverse. In the second type only in copper coins, the king as usual stands at altar. As the first type on the reverse, we find goddess seated on throne to front with fillet in right hand and cornucopia in left. The coins are stater or quarter ones with reverses of Nana goddess, OHPO, Shiva without bull, and in a type the entire field on the obverse is occupied by the word Vasu in Brahmi character. The later Kushanas issued two types of coins, Shiva and bull and the seated goddess. An examination of the coin types of the Kushana rulers shows that the king figures prominently either before the altar, which was adopted by the Gupta rulers, as well as or in other postures in full or in portrait. Now we are going to discuss the legends on the Kushana coins. The legends on the Kushana coins are both in Greek and in Kharoshthi. The titles being the Greek Basileus Basilion, the Iranian Shao Nano Shao, and the Indian Maharaja Raja Tiraja, all signifying great kings, kings of kings. The later Kushanas have legends in Brahmi as well. Kanishka and his successors do not use Kharoshthi, but Greek continues on the coins of all the Kushana rulers. The Greek titles Basileus Basilion. The Greek title Basileus Basilion was very common and used practically by all Indo-Greek kings. The Kanishka actually borrowed this title from the rulers whom he regarded as his predecessors. They had commonly used this title on their coins. Kanishka might have thought it better to retain the title which was used not only by the Indo-Greek kings but also by his immediate predecessor Vima Cadphises. This Greek title was not continued by either HUVISHKA or Vasudeva. The Iranian title Pau Nano Pau. The Iranian title Pau Nano Pau, transcribed as Shao Nano Shao or Shehenshah, was used by Kanishka and his successors. This Iranian title and its use by Kanishka onwards has to be viewed in context with the depiction of the Iranian deities on the coins of Kanishka and HUVISHKA. Now we are going to discuss divinities depicted on Kushana coins. The galaxy of divinities can be traced on the coins of all Kushana monarchs commencing from Kanishka. The divinities on the Kushana coins can be arranged nation-wise. Indian divinities, Shaiva divinities, OHPO, Shiva, who stands prominently with his bull on the coins of Vima Cadphises. Nana, goddess Nana appears on the coins of HUVISHKA, sometimes seated on a loin. She is also portrayed holding a sword at waist, and scepter, sword or stick of state, and patera. The name Nana is Indian and is used in the sense of mother in the Rig Veda, as the word Amba in Indian literature. The latter is one of the 8 names given to the consort of Shiva. The attributes of the goddess Amba or Ambika, seated on a lion, holding a mirror in her left hand, the right hand in the Varada Mudra pose, and the other 2 holding sword and shield, are noticed on the Kushana coins. Maachno, Mahasena, a Shaiva deity, appeared only on the coins of Huvishka ruler. Skando, Skand, a Shaiva deity, appeared only on the coins of Huvishka ruler. Kumaro, Kumara, a Shaiva deity, appeared on the coins of Huvishka ruler. Bizago, Visakha, a Shaiva deity, appeared on the coins of Huvishka ruler. Brahmanical divinities: Miro, Mihira, the Vedic sun god; Oda, Vada or Vata, the wind god; Oron, Varuna, the Vedic rain god; Orlango, the goddess which served as a prototype or model for the reverse Lakshmi model of the Gupta coins. Buddha figure: the Buddha figures on the coins of Kojula cadaphysis as well as on those of Kanishka. Buddha is shown both in the seated and standing postures, but in the attitude of protection. Iranian divinities: Othesho, the Iranian fire god; Shauforo, the genius of metals; Pharo, the goddess of luster. Greek divinities: Zeus, Helios, the Greek sun god; Selene, the Greek moon goddess; Roma, the city goddess of Rome; Manobago, the moon god. The divinities on the Kushana coins are varied in nature and representative in character, including Indian, both Brahmanical and Buddhist, Iranian with a fairly long list, and Greek. These testify to the enlarged boundaries of the Kushana empire and their contacts with other people. In the conclusion, we can say the numismatic study of Kushana period reveals an empire engaged in trade and business which crossed the boundaries of their majestic empire and the fabulous volume of trade with foreign powers and dynasties. The Kushana numismatics bear the testimony that this empire had a firm grip on the sound economic affairs due to their amazing capacity to channelize the financial system befitting of a fully developed and prosperous empire. Thank you.